an area like medical research, more than half of our PhD students and postdoctoral scientists are women, but women drop out of the system when it comes to taking up leadership positions, lab heads and professorships. And that's a huge waste in productivity, a huge challenge to productivity, and a huge waste to training. It also means that there are discoveries that aren't being made. I think what we want to try and do is to keep the best scientists in the country active in leadership positions in labs, and that way we have the best chance to make discoveries that will change the way we treat diseases like cancer or autoimmune diseases. We don't think of an issue like racism as being an Indigenous issue or an African American issue, where racism's rife. It's a problem for the tone of the whole of society. Likewise with gender equity. If we disenfranchise half of our population, then I think we live in a society that's not as decent as it should be. The career-defining years for a researcher are the same as childbearing years. So often you take your big strides forward in a career in your 20s and 30s, and that's obviously when couples are making decisions about having a family, and that impacts research productivity. I think there's a number of causes, and if we want to make a difference, then we have to address each of those issues almost at the same time. I think it's really important for the SAGE initiative's success that it has a wide range of backers. I'm a fellow both of the Academy of Science and the Academy of Technological Sciences and Engineering, and I was really delighted when those two leading academies, which are really important organisations when speaking about science nationally, when those two organisations decided to come together to really fund and push the SAGE initiative. I think that says a lot about the leadership of science in Australia, and I think it means a much greater likelihood of success for SAGE. As Director of the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute, I see an amazing number of talented women start their careers here, and for me the idea that some of those women will drop out of leadership in science unnecessarily is a real tragedy. From an institutional viewpoint and a personal viewpoint, I'm keen that everybody who starts a career here at the Institute, and more broadly, has an opportunity to fulfil their capacity and aspirations, and I'd really like to see that happen equally for men and women. Too often the solutions to gender equity seem to be just occurring in single institutions or maybe in local campuses. But what the SAGE initiative does means that we can learn from each other and take a really national perspective on tackling what's been a really difficult problem.